Good morning, everybody. It's me, your boy. Welcome to a new series. Welcome to a new era. The Everything series. It's truly a big occasion. Now, real quick, before jumping into the topic of today's episode, I'd like to intro the series a little bit for you. In the Everything series, we will be breaking down and explaining everything in Minecraft. Even better, we do that in a quick, fun, easy to take in way. Mobs, blocks, structures, mechanics, everything's on the table here. This is going to take a long time to do. This will be a brand new, long-term series on the channel. To make it easy to follow, I'll make a playlist for you. The goal is hopefully one new episode a week, but it just depends on how long it takes to research the topics. Finally, I'd like to get you all involved in the series, so eventually in some episodes there will be a viewer section where I run tests and maybe show off facts that were given to me, and maybe even memes too. It's going to be pretty cool. If all of that sounds cool to you, then absolutely subscribe. This is going to be a momentous occasion that will go down in history. Or something like that. On to the topic. Long intro out of the way, the topic that you most likely came to this video for is iron farming. If that's you, you're in luck. We'll start nice and simply with the definition. Iron farm. An iron farm is a farm that, well, it's a farm that gets you iron. Pretty crazy. Genius. I know, so specific. Okay, a little bit more specifically, when you hear the terms iron farm, people are most likely talking about something that kind of looks like this right here. This is an iron farm. More specifically, this is my iron farm that I designed for Java Edition 1.16 and up. To talk about iron farming, we absolutely have to take a look at one of these. This isn't the only way to farm iron. We'll talk about some other ways later in the video, but this is like the main way. These next mechanics that we'll be going over are unfortunately Java Edition exclusives. On Bedrock Edition, things work a little bit differently. So on Java Edition, in the 1.18 update and later, essentially you have 3 requirements for an iron golem to spawn if you're trying to make an iron farm. Requirement number 1 is going to be villagers. Essentially every single iron farm uses villagers. You're going to need 3 villagers total. Now these villagers are going to need to be panicking. That's requirement number 2. To make villagers panic, you could basically just show them a zombie and they freak out. When the villager gets in line with the zombie, it sees it and starts running around. That's the whole panicking thing. Now for iron golems to continuously spawn, these villagers also need to sleep every once in a while. Every once in a while, your villagers will need to jump into a bed. Now, they don't need to stay in this bed all night long. They just need to get into it really quick. That counts as sleeping. Kind of weird. But yeah, if your villagers don't sleep, the iron golems 100% will stop spawning. So, in summary, iron golems spawning, 3 villagers that are panicking and sleeping every once in a while. Once you meet those 3 requirements, you're going to need spawnable space in range. Spawnable space in range. Okay, so this next part is admittedly a little bit more complex. I'd like to send a big shout out to Nenbon, a creator and now actually a developer for this next part. I referenced Nenbon's video to figure this all out. There's kind of a lot to it. I'll link the video down in the description. So let's say we had a villager standing right there on that target block. That's cool. That block right there is like the source block for everything that we're going to talk about here. So if the villager is standing right there, there's basically a spawnable space around that villager. When the villager is freaking out and sleeping and everything like that, it'll try and spawn an iron golem. Where will the villager that is standing on that block right there try and spawn this golem? Well, essentially there's a box here. We're going to go 6 blocks up, 6 blocks down for the box, and then in the positive direction we're going to go 8 blocks out, and the negative direction we're going to go 7 blocks out. So negative coordinate right there, moving out from where the villager is, 7 blocks, 8 blocks the other direction. It's slightly off center as you can see here, but 6 up, 6 down, and then those directions. Somewhere inside of that box around the villager, there needs to be a spawnable space. Now, a spawnable space is going to be a solid block typically. So we could do something like wood, we could do cobblestone, we could do like a solid block. You know, most solid blocks in the game are going to work. Even if you want to use like literally iron ore for this thing, that's good. What will not work is non-solid blocks or partial blocks. So a bottom half slab right there, that's not going to work. A wall, that's kind of a weird block, fences too. The lectern, I don't know who would do that, but yep, that's definitely not going to work. And rails, 100%, rails will not work as well. So essentially, if you want iron golems to spawn, you have the villager panicking inside of this thing, you have it sleep every once in a while, and then you need spawnable space somewhere in here. Then, on top of that spawnable space, you want to move the iron golems out of this box as fast as possible. You see, if there is an alive iron golem within this box, then the villager will not try and spawn another iron golem. Typically, moving them out of this box means water streams, water sources. That's why most iron farms that you'll see use water. You move the iron golems out of this box as fast as possible with water. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Iron golems can actually also spawn inside of water. Now, keep in mind that if you're setting up an iron farm, you are most likely not going to have just like one villager. You're going to have 3 villagers here. So if I had one standing, let's say, on that target block, and then I had another one over here, and then maybe I have another one over here. Of course, we're going to have 3 separate boxes, so this area is going to get a little bit bigger. But yeah, essentially, this box around every single villager inside of your farm. And you'll need at least 3. 3 villagers is the number because essentially the game sees 3 villagers as a village. You'll also need a village for iron golems to spawn, so now that I think about it, that's like maybe 5 requirements instead of 3. Nah, but anyways, 3 villagers with spawning requirements. So assuming an iron golem spawns inside of that box, you need to move it outside of that box as fast as possible. You see, a villager can spawn an iron golem every 30 seconds. If there is an iron golem inside of that detection box, then the villager just kind of knows it's there, even if it can't physically see it. And if the iron golem is still there, there won't be another. If you're designing your own iron farm, the best solution to this is probably flowing water that drops the iron golems far outside of that box as fast as possible, but maybe you can come up with something else. If you're looking for an iron farm, I mean, I'm a little biased here. I like my design because I designed it, but I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty efficient if you set it up right. Card on screen to the tutorial right now. I consider this thing one of the best ways to set up an iron farm in survival Minecraft. But it's not the only way. When somebody is talking about farming iron in Minecraft, I can almost guarantee it. They are certainly not talking about this right here, but technically speaking, this is definitely a possibility. So the iron ingot, that's what you're farming inside of an iron farm. If you wanted to get iron ingots, you could technically take out zombies, because zombies drop iron ingots. Now, of course, the zombies' main drop is going to be rotten flesh. However, they have special drops. These are the special drops right here. When you take out a zombie, essentially without looting 3 or any level of looting, you have a 2.5% chance to get one of these drops. However, these drops are all puddled inside of the same pool here, so if you want to break this down individually, for the iron ingot, that's going to mean about a 0.83% of getting an iron ingot when you take out a zombie. Yeah, that's not very good compared to like the handful of iron ingots that you get from an iron golem, but it's technically possible. Now, utilizing looting, we can level this up a little bit more. 1 level of looting will give you a 1.17% chance about to get an iron ingot when you take out a zombie. Looting 2 is going to give us 1.5, and then finally, looting 3, 1.83%. That's literally insane. If for some reason you are like miles more ethical than me and you just can't set up an iron farm, well, you could set up a zombie farm from maybe a spawner or just like a passive hostile mob farm that is darkness and farm the zombies. It is absolutely, definitely, technically possible to farm iron with just zombies. Probably a zombie spawner farm is your best bet. The third and final method for iron farming that we'll be talking about in today's video involves the caves, and to be honest, is definitely not what people are talking about when they're talking about farming iron, but technically it is possible. So, of course, in Minecraft, iron is an ore. Shocking. I know. More specifically, iron is an ore that generates 2 times. The first batch of generation is going to be between Y128 and 320, most common at Y255. Obviously, right now, I'm at 55, 255, literally 200 blocks away. Yeah, we're down inside of a cave. So that first batch of generation is typically inside of the mountains. The second batch generates in between -24 and 54, most common at Y15. That's what we're talking about. If you want to farm iron, technically, you could go down into the caves and literally just mine iron, somewhere in between -24 and 55. I highly recommend, if you're doing this method, to get a good pickaxe with Fortune 3. If you mine a piece of iron ore in 1.18, you'll get 1 piece of raw iron. If you mine it with Fortune 3, you can get up to 4 pieces of raw iron. That's 4 times better. But, yeah, if somebody says they're farming iron, they are most likely not talking about mining iron down in the caves because, well, they literally would have just said that instead. I guess it is possible, though. But if you are lucky enough to locate an iron ore vein, something that generates in this game below Y0, then you're looking at profits. This thing is efficient. It's great. An iron ore vein can have thousands of iron ore. Combine that with Fortune 3. That's literally like at least 4,000 of iron ore. It's a lot. The telltale signs of an iron ore vein are going to be lots of tough blocks mixed in with iron ore very close, and maybe even raw ore too. Iron ore veins and ore generation in general, those are definitely both topics for another time. Iron farming, Java edition, those are the mechanics, some options, how it all works. I'd like to wrap up today's episode of the Everything series with a quick pros and cons list. If you've never set up an iron farm in your world and are considering it, here are some pros and a con. Pros: easy iron, infinite iron, and it's a cool farm. I mean, look at this farm, the Oreo farm. It's running, it's working, it's kind of cool to watch. Also, if you've never really worked with villagers too much, I would say these mechanics are relatively easy to understand. Like, once you get them, it's pretty straightforward. If you've never really worked with villagers before, an iron farm will be a great spot to start. The con of an iron farm is these things are absolutely game-breaking. Once you build one of these things in one of your worlds, you will need to build one of these things in every single one of your worlds. Also, this thing kind of completely annihilates the whole idea of mining for iron down in the caves, even inside of the new exciting 1.18 caves. It's just not the same. So, episode 1 of the Everything series, it's over. Iron farming. That's how it works right now, as of Minecraft Java 1.18.2. For the most part, since the 1.14 update, the mechanics have stayed essentially the same. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like, and if you're new here, I would definitely recommend subscribing. Like I said, brand new series, long-term series, historical series even. Maybe. If there's anything I should do different, maybe a topic you'd like to see next, drop that down in the comments below. It's been me, your boy. I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, goodbye.